All right, ready to jump into Shakespeare. We're tackling Henry V today. It's got ambition, betrayal, famous speeches, the whole shebang.
Henry V is really interesting, don't you think? It's not just one story. It's like one part of a four-part series.
Right, it's a tetralogy, like a binge-worthy show, but way before those existed. So remind us which plays we're talking about here.
It's a whole line of English monarchs. Starts with Richard II, then goes through both parts of Henry I, and ends with Henry V. They're all connected, you see. Like when Henry VI starts, the audience already knew him, but not how he was in this play.
From before, they'd remember him as Prince Hal, right? That wild prince, more into hanging out than ruling.
Exactly, and that's what makes Henry V so cool. It's a total transformation. He goes from partying prince to this, like, really serious, even ruthless king. Makes you wonder, is it real growth, or is he just putting on an act?
It gets really interesting when they try to assassinate him early on. He outsmarts them, of course, but the punishment he chooses, that's when you see the change.
Totally.
Ah.
And some of them were close to him, maybe even friends, way back when he was Prince Hal. He shows them no mercy, which, I don't know about you, but that doesn't sound much like the Prince from those other plays.
It really gets you thinking. Does being in charge change you? Like, is a cold heart what it takes to rule, especially in wartime?
Shakespeare doesn't make it easy for us, does he? That's what's great about this deep dive. He shows us Henry's changes, but it's not good versus evil. It's more about power, what it means to lead, that kind of thing.
And that's why it still means something today, right? Ambition, tough choices, those never get old. But we can't forget about the war part. There's a lot of it in this play.
He's really good at showing us both sides of war. The excitement, but also how awful it is. Like, remember those big speeches? Yeah. The ones that make you want to join the fight?
Oh, for sure. It's impossible not to feel that energy when Henry's like, "Once more unto the breach, dear friends, once more," or the St. Crispin's Day speech. Now that's how you lead.
They work because we all wanted to be brave, right?
Yeah.
To be part of something bigger. And those speeches, they make you feel that.
But just when you're caught up in it, he shows you what war really means, like the siege of Harfleur, the battles, all those lives lost even after the fighting's over.
Yeah, he doesn't hide how terrible it is. He makes you think about what victory costs. You know, it's not all celebrations.
And then there's that whole thing at Agincourt where he has the prisoners killed.
Right.
That's disturbing, no matter how you look at it. Makes you see Henry in a different light compared to those inspiring speeches.
It sure does. And that's where the play becomes more than just history. It makes you think about what's right and wrong, especially for a leader. Was it a necessary evil, to protect his men? Or was it cold-blooded? Shakespeare makes you decide.
It's like he's saying, even when you win, there are consequences. No easy way out. He was good at making people think about the hard stuff.
He really was. That's what makes Henry V, actually all his plays, so interesting.
It's true. You don't forget a Shakespeare play. But he did know how to lighten things up. Even with all the fighting, it's amazing how he can make you laugh.
He gets it, Life's not all serious. We laugh, we fall in love, we find ways to connect, even when things are falling apart.
And in Henry V, some of the funniest parts are those scenes where they can't understand each other, especially when Princess Catherine's trying to learn English.
Oh, yeah, those are classic Shakespeare. This French princess trying to learn a new language and, well, let's just say she gets a few words mixed up.
It's hilarious. But it also makes those characters seem more real, Beyond the crowns and battles, they're still just people trying to figure things out, even while they're making peace treaties.
Exactly. It's like a break from all the serious stuff. Reminds us that we're all human, we all have awkward moments, no matter what culture we're from.
Speaking of different cultures, we should probably mention Shakespeare didn't come up with all this out of nowhere. It's based on history, right?
It is. He got a lot of it from Raphael Holinshed's Chronicles, a huge history book that was super popular back then.
So like Shakespeare's version of a history documentary marathon.
Pretty much. Henry V, Battle of Agincourt, it's all from there.
But, and I think we all know this about Shakespeare, he wasn't just going to copy, was he?
Nope. He took those stories, made them his own, added more to the characters, made them deeper, more human.
Right. Henry's not just a name in a history book. He feels real, conflicted. No wonder we're still talking about these plays.
And think about how many times Henry V has been on stage or in movies. From Laurence Olivier's version, super patriotic, to Kenneth Branagh's, a lot darker, each one gives us a new way to see the story.
It really makes you wonder, is Henry a hero? A really good politician? Or maybe just a conqueror who didn't care who he hurt? What do you think?
It's tough to say, right? I mean, Shakespeare He doesn't give you a simple answer. On one hand, you have this brave king, but on the other, he can be ruthless.
And that's what keeps bringing us back. It's not just some old story, it makes you ask yourself big questions about what it takes to be a leader, what's right and wrong, even what makes someone a hero or a villain. Sometimes it feels like there's barely any difference at all.
Totally. He reminds us that history isn't black and white. It's all about how you see it, and how the story gets told.
It's true. So before we wrap up with Henry V, what's the main thing you want our listeners to take away from this deep dive?
Ooh, good question. I hope they realize that people are complicated. Even someone like Henry V, who we think we know, he can still surprise us.
Like there's always more to learn, even in stories we think we've heard a million times.
That's Shakespeare for you. He doesn't just tell you things. He wants to get you thinking, make you question stuff. And that never gets old, no matter how many centuries go by.
It's so true. All right, well, if you're loving this Henry V deep dive, don't stop here. Go find other versions, read up on the history, watch the play if you can.
There's so many ways to experience it. And you never know. You might see something new or change your mind about something. That's what's so great about Shakespeare.
He really keeps you on your toes. And hey, maybe this will even inspire you to check out the other plays about these kings, those four we talked about, the Henriad. Shakespeare was the king of drama, that's for sure.
He definitely knew how to write a story. Ambition, betrayal, love, heartbreak. He put it all in there. Stories that never get old.
And we'll be here, ready to dive into any of them with you. Until next time, happy reading, happy watching, and keep those questions coming.
That's what's so great about Henry V, right? He doesn't make it easy. You're left thinking, is this guy a hero? Or is there something darker there?
And that's what makes you think, even now. It's more than just a history lesson. It's about leadership, about doing the right thing, what makes someone good or bad.
Definitely. And how sometimes it's hard to tell those apart. Like Shakespeare's saying, history isn't simple. It depends on how you look at it.
Totally. So as we finish up with Henry V, what's the one thing you want our listeners to remember from all this?
That's a good question. I guess to realize that everyone, even someone like Henry V, has different sides. He's not just the guy in the history books.
Like there's always something more to find out, even when you think you know the story.
Exactly. And that's what makes Shakespeare so great. He wants you to think for yourself, to keep asking those questions.
He really does. Well, for anyone listening who's been enjoying Henry V, don't stop now. There are other ways to experience it. Find different productions, read about the real history, all of that.
It's true. There's always a new way to see it. You might be surprised what you discover.
Always something new with Shakespeare. And hey, maybe this will make you want to check out his other plays about these kings. We talked about them earlier, that group of four, the Henriad.
Definitely worth checking out. He really knows how to tell a story, that's for sure. All the good stuff. Ambition, betrayal, love, loss.
And we'll be here ready to dive into those with you whenever you are. Until then, happy reading, happy watching, and keep those questions coming.
Absolutely. We'll see you next time.